Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know that I am. Finally, I'm back at work and making all the things. I guess that makes for a fantastic day. I don't know. Anyway, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make what I call the Itty-Bitty Crossbody bag because it's so cute and little. This bag has two slip pockets, one outside, one inside, and it's got a really quick little crossbody strap. The pattern is available to purchase on my website. However, there are no written instructions, which is why it's only $1. It can also be purchased through Craftsy. So this is just going to be a really quick, short little video because it's a quick little bag. I did not interface my exterior fabric because I used a canvas, but if you're using a regular quilting cotton, I would definitely recommend using Woven Fuse or SF101. And then for the lining, I used waterproof canvas just because it adds a little stability as well as durability, and it's just a really, like, people desire that in their bag. Every time I sell one and I'm like, oh, it's waterproof canvas, they're like, what? Really? That's so cool. I want it now. And I'm like, I know. You're welcome. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys hit subscribe before you watch the video. But if you don't like the video, then I don't know what's wrong with you. I can't help you. All right, thanks. Enjoy. All right, so let's get started making the Itty-Bitty Crossbody bag. So I'm first going to start with the inner and outer slip pockets. I've got the fabrics facing right sides together, and I'm just really quickly ironing them because I didn't before. And I'm going to sew along the top edge using about a 3/8 to 1/2 inch seam allowance. Gonna sew the next one. Make sure your fabric is facing up, or the direction of your fabric, I should say, is the right way. So trim my excess threads, and then I'm going to open these up and iron them down. I'm not going to trim the seam allowance or anything. I'm just going to fold it on top of itself so that the right sides are facing out. The first time you guys might make this bag, it might take you a little longer than me, but after a while it should be pretty quick. I designed it so it would be nice and easy for a lot of people. It would be a quick sew, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. So now I'm going to top stitch just with my foot along the top edge of the pocket, and I'll trim all those extra threads in just a second. So now I can go and cut all my extra little threads. Goodbye. Farewell. All right. So now all of my threads have been trimmed, and I'm going to grab one of my exterior pieces and one of my lining pieces, and I'm just going to lay the pocket along the bottom and just clip it in place. So there's where my pocket's going to go. And then I'm going to do the same with the lining fabric. My pocket is a little bit smaller because I'm using up some of my fabric, so if your pocket looks a little taller, you're doing it right, I'm doing it wrong. Great way to have a video. So there's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to baste these pockets into place. We're just going to sew in a U shape. And if you wanted to, you could add a little stitch line down the center to kind of divide the slip pocket, but I'm just gonna leave mine open. You could even go so far as to add credit card slots into the bag. That would be a really good selling point. All right. So now my slip pockets have been attached. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my 12-inch zipper. Mine is a little bit longer, but a 12-inch zipper is ideal. So I'm going to lay that face down on my bag. Actually, I'm gonna grab the non-pocketed side because I always like to have the pocket kind of facing towards the body. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. All right, so I'm laying my zipper tape all the way across the top. With my zipper tape flat, you can see how it kind of meets up to the edge. I'm gonna fold that up at a 45-degree angle. So it should be about 1/2 inch from the edge, and then I'm gonna clip about 1/2 inch from the other edge because we're gonna trail the zipper off. So it's gonna be a little confusing, but that's what it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna start by basting it into place. Just really slow along the top. And then once I get towards that 1/2 inch center, I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see a little better. There we go. So I'm gonna hold my finger here, and I'm gonna grab the end of my zipper tape and just kind of throw it off at, again, that little 45-degree angle, and then I'm gonna keep sewing. So you guys can see, it's not in that stitch line, and that's what we want. That's a good thing. So now I'm going to grab my lining piece with the slip pocket. So my exterior piece that I've sewn on has no slip pocket, but my lining piece will. And I'm just gonna lay those right sides together, wrong sides facing out. I'm gonna clip it from the wrong side, and I'm gonna flip it over so I can see my stitch line. I'm going to grab the tail of my zipper and hold on to it. I wanna make sure that I still am not sewing through that. And then sew, just coming in a little ways from my original stitch line, all the way down. Okay, so you can see the line up top was my basting stitch, and the line just below that is my last top stitch, essentially. All right, so I'm going to open that up and iron it down. A little bit of steam helps. And I'm just gonna top stitch all the way across. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm going to top stitch from where my zipper starts. So right there until about 1/2 inch from the other side. So where that zipper starts to trail off. Back stitch, go forward. And then again, kind of hold on to your zipper tail so you can see where it ends. And then back stitch, back stitch, back stitch. And I'll trim that. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is I'm using pre-made crossbody strap. This is not like a cotton webbing or a nylon. It is fabric that is sewn together and stitched down on both sides, so it's a really nice thick crossbody strap. These are available on my website to order in 3/4 inch wide or 1 inch wide. As of now, it's only available in black. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off a 2.5 inch piece from that strap, and we're gonna loop our 1 inch rectangle through. And I'm just going to base stitch that together. Oops. And I'm using the 1 inch simple square rings. They're rectangles, but That's just what I call them. And I'm going to lay that down about, where's my little roller? Oh no, it ran off. Well, I'm gonna say it's about 1.5 inches from the outer edge. Yes, so lay that face down on your zipper about 1.5 inches from the outer edge. And I'll show you what that looks like. And I'm measuring from right here or the end of your zipper tape. And then I'm going to grab my crossbody strap. And I'm going to lay that again 1.5 inches from the outer edge. And you're laying that on top of your zipper tape. And then I'm gonna grab the exterior of my bag and lay that face down on top of all that. So we're just gonna make a sandwich. And I'm actually not going to baste my zipper this time. I'm just gonna sew it all together. So I'm gonna flip it over. And I'm gonna add my lining fabric now and lay that on top. It might help you to baste your zipper first, especially since, again, we have to trail off that zipper. So I'm gonna start on this side and I'm just gonna grab my zipper tape. I'll zoom you guys out just a little bit, sorry. So we're gonna grab the zipper tape, point it out at an angle, lay the lining back down, and I'm holding on to it, and we're just gonna sew straight down. Okay, and then before I get to the end of my zipper tape on the other side, I wanna make sure that I'm turning my zipper tape at a 45-degree angle, just like we did the first time. So now I can turn this and press. So you'll see here our zipper tape is outside of that seam, and then our zipper tape there is folded out at a 95 or a 45-degree angle. So if you would like to, you can iron it down. And then I always like to give my crossbody strap a little tug. And I messed it up. I should have pulled it down into the seam allowance about 1 inch. My bad, y'all. Wouldn't be me if I didn't mess it up, right? Alright, so I'm gonna pull that down into the seam a little bit more, about 1/2 inch. Sorry. And I'm just gonna sew over that stitch line again. Okay, so now we can open that up. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. And we can stitch along the top, or top stitch as some people would refer to it as, and back stitch, and stitch over your strap, connector, and strap. Straight down. And then back stitch at the end of your zipper trail. So we're not going from edge to edge, we're just going from the end of the zipper to the end of the zipper. Okay, trim all your excess threads. I'll show you guys what that looks like now. There's what it looks like from the lining. And I'll be zapping those threads. And then here's what it looks like from the other side. So now we can put right sides together and wrong sides together. We'll just kind of ball up this strap. We can start looping our crossbody strap connector. So you're going to loop your crossbody strap through crossbody strap, top and bottom, like that. And then you're gonna make sure you kind of keep it straight and with the correct curve. And then you're gonna loop it through your 1-inch square ring. And then we're just gonna keep it like that while we're sewing it together. So I'm literally just gonna like do that while I'm sewing this whole thing together. Okay, so unzip it about halfway and put right sides together and lining together with exterior together. Your zipper is going to be pointing towards your lining. And you're going to make sure you keep your zipper tail inside as well. Please keep all zipper tails and straps inside the bag at all times. Again, zipper towards the lining. So the teeth are going to be pointing stuck inside the lining. And then we can bring the bag sides together and just clip it as we go. And it gets a little bulky with the strap inside, but it does make it a little simpler to put together. If you'd rather use 2 maybe 1/2-inch D-rings or something like that to clip a removable crossbody strap to, you are more than welcome to do so. That is definitely an option. And then I'm gonna grab one of my little woven labels and stick it inside there. All right, so for the lining, we're gonna clip everything together naturally. But when we start sewing, we're gonna start sewing about 1/2 inch above our slip pocket and go all the way around and come back. And then we're gonna stop about 1.5 inches from the top. So we're gonna leave about a 3.5 inch opening. You can make it a little wider if you think you can, but it's gonna be left open on the side. And then you're going to use about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. My stitch length, I'm going to set it to about 3.5. Back stitch, come down, go around, back stitch at the corners. And then I also like to back stitch at the top of that slip pocket, but then we're going to keep going. Make sure that you don't hit your zipper tape or the teeth of your zipper, that little zipper stop at the beginning, because you will bust a needle. Nobody wants to do that. I'm going to back stitch where the outer slip pocket starts. I'm going to come around, keep up with that 1/2 inch seam allowance, back stitch at the corner. back stitch at that corner, turn around, come all the way up the side. We're gonna back stitch again to reinforce that slip pocket. And we're nearing the end, so we want to be really careful that we don't hit our zipper tail. That would be bad. And we're gonna back stitch, and there we have our opening right there. So I'm gonna trim all of that extra fabric away. Starting here. So you're not gonna trim where you didn't sew, if that makes sense. That little opening we left, we're gonna leave that untrimmed. That'll help us sew it up in a minute. Okay, so we're gonna cut all of our extra seam allowance down to about 1/8 of an inch. So now we're at the front. Okay. So you see I've left the opening untrimmed, and now we can turn the bag through. And I always like to get that crossbody strap out first, and then kind of work the rest out. Whoops. I'm just going to slowly birth it. You don't want to rip your lining or anything like that. If you see any little excess threads, now is a great time to trim them. So exterior's out, and now I just need to work on turning the lining through. The waterproof canvas definitely makes it a little trickier to turn through, but it is an added feature that a lot of people really enjoy, and it adds an extra layer of thickness to your bag. So it's like emits a whole layer of interfacing. It's pretty nice. So I'm going to push out the corners with my fingers. If you want, you can use a pair of scissors, just really, really gently along the corner. Like so. And honestly, I don't even worry about poking the corners out of the lining too much, because it makes it easier to stick them in to the exterior of the bag if they're not poked out. Hopefully that makes sense. If you wanted to square the corners of this bag to give it a little thickness, you could absolutely do that. Before you sew the bag fully together, you'll want to cut out like maybe little 1/2-inch corners and then just kind of fold them together, like with a simple tote bag pattern or something like that. All right, so now we can fold our opening closed. So you just kind of roll those edges inward, and we're going to stitch down birthing pole. And I'm using a stitch length of like 3.5 or something, and I'm gonna back stitch, and go forward, and then back stitch, and then trim all my extra threads. And then my friend Lily mentioned this really fun tool. It's called the Thread Zap 2. The link to purchase it through Amazon will be below, but you just kind of press this button and this element heats up and it just kind of melts your thread. It's really cool. It'll keep it from fraying and stuff like that. So I've got this little part right here. I can trim all my excess and then just hit it with this thread zap. You can see it gets a little smoky, but your threads aren't going to fray, so it's pretty sweet. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure you put that cap back on and keep it away from children. And we are ready to stick the lining into the exterior of the bag. And then your zipper might have gotten a little twisted around, so you want to kind of unzip it and straighten it back up. Beautiful. So now we're going to finish this crossbody strap off. And if you guys watched my triple zip video, that bag pattern is by Soda Kind, you'll know that I struggled with making a crossbody strap like this, but since that video I'm like, oh, well, it's actually fairly simple. So we already strung our strap through and now we're just finishing it up. So I've got my extra little tail here that I'm going to thread. I'm going to open this up, I'm going to thread it through the closest side, and then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to thread it through the top side. And then you're going to fold it over and stitch it down. And that's your crossbody strap. And it is fully adjustable. So I'm going to grab the two inner portions like so. Make sure nothing is twisted. And I'm just going to do 2 stitch lines, very small. Try and keep everything out of the way. Trim all those extra threads, and then again I'm going to use that thread zapper to prevent them from fraying. This isn't necessarily going to work with all thread types, but it does work well for the bonded polyester and the bonded nylon because those are very fray sensitive threads. And now we are ready for the very last part of the bag. So you can see if you use the 12-inch zipper, you might have about this much extra. I had to use a little bit longer, so I've got obviously a little bit longer of extra thread. So I'm gonna trim this down and I'm gonna add a zipper end cap. These do require a Phillips head screwdriver. So instead, if you wanted to, you could grab a little scrap fabric and make a little square to add to the end of your zipper, but this is a really fast way to make a professional looking finish for your bag. So I'm just gonna unscrew the screw. Make sure you have a magnet nearby so you do not lose that screw or you'll be sad. I'm gonna grab my lighter. I'm going to cut off the end of my zipper. You can hold on to that and use it for something else someday. I'm going to use my lighter here on the end of my zipper just to keep that from fraying. And then I'm going to fold my zipper tape under onto itself. I'm not going to be folding it over the zipper teeth. So I'm folding it under, just meeting next to the zipper teeth. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then I'm gonna fold it under one more time, directly under the zipper teeth, so that it is no wider than the zipper teeth. And then I'm gonna use my lighter one more time on that, just to kind of melt it all together if I can, and then clamp it together. And that helps reduce the bulk. All right, so with my zipper teeth facing up, I'm gonna grab my zipper end cap and I'm just going to push that on there. Don't let go of your little zipper roll, I'm gonna call it. You wanna like shimmy it in there. And it should go, you can push until it won't go anymore, and then you can let go. If you want to use a little extra glue inside the zipper end cap, you totally can. I usually don't have a problem, but now I'm going to screw that on. So the screw portion up, I'm just gonna screw it in there. Okay. Oop. Let me give it one more little push. There we go. All right, you guys, and that is it. Now you have your bag finished. There should be no pocket on the front. There should be a slip pocket along the back, which is really nice, and then you can open it up really easily while you're wearing it, and then you're like, oh, there's a little pocket inside, and it's waterproof. I sold a lot of these at some of my most recent conventions, and they actually fit like the little convention programs in there almost perfectly, which I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I did not plan that, but I'm glad it worked. Yeah, but that is it. This pattern is available to purchase through my website. There are no written instructions, only this video. There might be a little checklist of instructions, but they're not very detailed. And you actually don't even need to purchase the pattern. You could kind of manipulate the pieces however you wanted. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope to see what you guys make.